Hello, hello, hello. Yes, it's Mark here. I spent most of March playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, but that didn't stop me from sampling a whole bunch of indie releases as well, so here are my favourites of the lot. Let's get the inevitable indie puzzle game on Steam out of the way, though this one is also on mobile, which is nice. I like my puzzle games portable, thank you very much. Anyway, this one is called Cosmic Express, and it's a tautly designed puzzle game about drawing tracks for a space train, so it can deliver passengers, space passengers, to their appropriate cardboard boxes. Space is at an absolute premium in this game, so you really have to plan out the perfect route to get everyone to their destination, or else you're going to run out of train track and get in a big old spaghetti mess and say, okay, let me just start from scratch and do it better this time. You've probably played a game like this before, maybe Train Yard or RGB Express and whatnot, and sure, this one's not super different, but developer Alan Hazelden, aka Draknek, knows puzzle design. He also did A Good Snowman is Hard to Build and Soccer Bond, so expect many sharply made puzzles that you will swear are impossible for about an hour before having a moment of beautiful epiphany. So that's Cosmic Express, though honestly, I much prefer the name of the prototype, Train Braining. That's clever. I almost missed this one last month. It's called Hollow Knight, and it's a lovely Metroidvania that might remind you, in style if nothing else, of Ori and the Blind Forest. As a Metroidvania, you're going to be running about, fighting enemies, gaining new power-ups, and then going back to old locations to open up new pathways. That's all pretty standard. What makes this one stand out is that it has taken no small amount of inspiration from Dark Souls. I mean, the name, Hollow Knight, refers to a mechanic where if you die, you'll be underpowered until you find your old corpse, a mechanic straight out of Dark Souls, called hollowing. The combat can also be kind of brutal, but nothing like a Souls game. I mean, some of the bosses are quite tricky, but with their obvious tells and huge cooldowns, they're nothing you can't beat in 1 or 2 goes. But I feel like this game is just willing to let the player make their own discoveries and sort stuff out themselves, which feels just as liberating in this small indie game as it does in the Souls series. By the way, I was also playing Nier Automata this month, and it also has a system similar to Souls. You not only have to find your own body, which I know corpse running has been around for a while, but Dark Souls really rekindled that mechanic, I reckon, but you also find the corpses of other players, and in an evolution of Souls, you can make them fight alongside you. My point with this whole tangent is that Dark Souls might just be the most influential game of the 21st century. What do you reckon? Answers on a postcard, or on the Patreon post for this video. That makes more sense than a postcard. Anyway, Hollow Knight is nice, it's charming, it has some slightly weird issues with jump physics and like enemy staggering, just kind of the basic stuff that makes it feel a bit amateurish, but if you can put up with that stuff, you'll find a nice adventure to chill out with. I played this one at the weekend and it was just relaxing, good, fun, nice. It's so nice when a game is easy to describe. Euclidean Lands is Hitman Go, played on the impossible architecture of a Monument Valley level. Boom, done. Let's move on. No, wait. Your goal is to beat up soldiers by crashing into them from behind or the side, and to line up your attack, you can shift the game world around by ratcheting it in big 90-degree chunks like a Rubik's Cube. It's one of those games where you have to rewire your brain to get on the game's level and start thinking in a very three-dimensional way to consider how you will get to the underside of a level and not land within striking distance of a bad guy. It's turn-based and you don't have to commit to movement, so you can really play around and see how your next movement is going to work before you commit, which will certainly be handy when the game starts getting a bit more difficult. I actually got this game because the developer, Kunabi Brother, made the excellent minimalist game Black. This isn't quite as daring or innovative, but it's still worth trying, and it's out on iPhone and iPad. I feel like the Venn diagram for early Nintendo Switch adopters and Snipperclips customers is going to be like a perfect circle, but just in case you've got the former and not the latter, go buy Snipperclips. It's a co-op puzzle game where you and a pal play as these two finger-shaped shapes who can cut holes out of each other's bodies, which is super handy when the level dictates that you need to carry something across the screen and one player can chop a perfect container into the other. Or maybe you can turn a player into a cog, or a fishing hook, or whatever, and sometimes you need to cut up the background too. Every level is different and will leave you saying, "Oh, that's clever," about once for every £1 you spend on the game, which is a good return on investment if you ask me. And you can really come up with wacky, personal ways to solve each conundrum. Whatever works, works. The solution is down to you. This game has buckets of charm and loads of good moments. It's a shame that it's a Switch exclusive because everyone should get to play this excellent game, but them's the breaks. Either get it now or get it when you pick up your Switch for Mario later this year. And there we have it, 4 cool games. I do want to give an honourable mention to the worst game I played this month, because I have to play quite a few games to actually find a bunch that are worth recommending for this video. So one I played is called Troll and I, which is kind of billed as Brothers meets The Last Guardian, and I thought it might be a cool game. Turns out it's not. It's well intentioned, it's ambitious, but it's just really bad. It's got horrible PS2 style graphics, it's got this crafting system which just seems thrown in there for no reason, terribly clunky combat, bad stealth, silly insta-death sections, and probably the worst dreadlocks you've ever seen in a video game. If you see this game on Steam or a console and are intrigued like I was, please take my advice and just run in the other direction.